What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Bachelor Tea Party. I am Zuri Hall, and today we are joined by Ashley Iaconetti Haibon. Hey, Ashley. And also eBay page spokesperson JoJo Fletcher. Hey, JoJo.
Hey, guys.
Now, we are going to be talking about, of course, all things Bachelorette with last night's episode, from Ashley's cameo to Noah jumping the fence. We got a lot to cover today, a lot of good stuff. So let's go ahead and get into it. Ashley, we saw you make your cameo on the show alongside Jared. You talked to me a little bit about this last week, but I want more details. What was the vibe like when you got there on set?
I felt like the guys were still in that shy mode. They were quiet. They were very reserved. So besides like being in the activity, you could tell that they were still in that, like, do I approach the Bachelorette mode? It just like them being super careful.
Which is surprising though, because coming from Claire's season, them learning real quick to jump in and get her attention, it's surprising actually to me.
That is surprising, but JoJo, you know how that feeling is like the first week or so where people are trying to get their groove. So they're really like doing week one over again.
Right.
Totally.
If the rules still apply for the new girl the way they did for the last lady.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did you get to give Tayshia any advice, Ashley, while you were there?
Yeah, Jared and I actually sat down with Tayshia. It didn't air, and we got, her vibes as how she's been dealing with Bachelorette and who her favorites were thus far.
And you're gonna tell us?
And
you play yourself off mid-sentence.
In that conversation, I think it's not like a real spoiler alert. I think it was pretty obvious throughout this season that she mentioned Ben as being one of the guys she was watching out for in a good way.
Okay. JoJo, what was your reaction to the grown-ass man challenge?
I feel like I never want to hear the phrase grown ass man ever again. It was just so repetitive last night that I was like, it was driving me nuts.
Yeah. I don't like the word ass.
We didn't need it, but whatever. The challenge, listen, they're filming in one location. They're getting very creative with these dates and what they're doing. It was a funny, playful date. I don't think it really says if someone's a grown-ass man, if they know how to spell something or add something up. But I did think it was funny. And I think that we saw a lot of really great banter. So in that aspect, I liked it.
Okay. All right. Minus the ass portion of the name of the challenge.
Yeah.
Right. So it did what it was supposed to do. Ashley, did you feel like you could sense any connections, anything that stood out just from what you were watching going down when the challenge was happening?
So like JoJo said, I don't know if you can prove it by knowing how to spell limousine. However, I do think that the last component of the date, making breakfast for her in bed, was when they were able to really show that off. And that's when we were able to feel the connections. That's where we truly did feel a connection with Bennett. He made the moment an intimate moment between the two of them. You really didn't feel like anybody else was in the room. Instead of him just serving her like the other guys up to that point were. It was before Bennett sat in bed and started to talk to her. Everybody was like, I made you this smoothie because it's my best recipe. I brought you donuts because they're delicious. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons we picked him. Plus we just thought he's self-aware and hilarious.
Okay.
Yes.
And now I want to go ahead and get to our throwing shade portion where we're going to break down the shadiest moments of the night. There was a little shade at the cocktail party, okay, with Ed and Chasen where they got pretty heated. What did you ladies think about how that all went down? JoJo, we can start with you.
Oh, I forget. I don't remember on my season that much shade throwing happening. I don't know if it's the women versus the men, but when I watch it, it just seems so petty to me. And the whole Ed and Chasen thing. And let me just say, they both were Ed was picking on him. He was going right back. I don't think it was one or the other. But in my mind, it's just so silly to me. It is so silly. And I think producers love it. And I think that's why they're both still here. But just silly, petty stuff. And I think the guys that aren't involved are the ones that are going to actually go further because I think Tayshia is already fed up with it. So I think it's silly.
Ashley, what would you say? How did you think about how that cocktail party went down?
Yeah, that argument was so ridiculous. I really feel like Ed started out of jealousy, but then Chasen ended up probably making himself look even worse than Ed because he just took it so seriously and he got so defensive and like Wolverine.
Oh,
We cringed so hard. I didn't expect that from Chasen after being with him on the first portion of the date. And yeah, I don't know. It just didn't look good, but I also understand why Chasen got so heated after Ed said directly to Tayshia he was there for Instagram followers. I think that made it worthy of him to be pretty annoyed at Ed.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think that there could be any truth to that? What Ed was saying about the fact that Chasen might not be there for the right reasons?
Whatever.
Whatever. And how does Ed know anything about Chasen? You know what I mean? Like they barely know each other. And it's like, I feel like that thing that you throw at somebody is such an easy thing to say about someone you don't like. Like they're not here for the right reasons. And at the end of the day, like Tayshia's going to figure that out. She'll figure it out if someone's going to be there for her or for other reasons. So I just feel like it's time wasted in their conversations with her. And it just makes both of them look bad.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
She ended up keeping both of the guys. What do you think about that decision?
I mean, of course, it was the least surprising decision ever. During rose ceremonies like that, like I just, sit back. There's no anxiety anymore. I actually feel like they need to switch that up because it's getting just so mundane that the two with the conflict end up staying that like we expect it and there isn't any suspense.
Right.
Yeah, I foresee a 2-on-1 with them coming soon. And I actually am just like either it's the 2-on-1 situation where one goes home or I actually can see them both going home. Because in my personal opinion, I wasn't there with seeing their interaction, but I don't feel like either of those two have the strongest connection with her right now, obviously. So I feel like if things continue down this path, it'll be an easy way to say goodbye to both of them if it continues, I think.
Okay.
I think that Tayshia's pretty attracted to Chasen. So
really?
That's keeping him in it right now. Yeah.
All right. We shall see. We shall see. We're going to play a round of roses or thorns. This is the part where we're going to name some moments that went down in the show. And if you liked it, it gets a rose. If you didn't like it, it gets a thorn. So first up, Ed pulling out of the wrestling match against Chasen at the last minute. Rose or thorn? We say it at the same time on 1, 2, 3.
Thorn. Oh, I just think it was silly. I mean, I don't think that his shoulder was going to get dislocated. And I just felt like it was like if he knew the whole time that he was going to pull out, like, why'd you wait till the very last second? It was like this whole dramatic thing. So thorn for me.
That's hilarious. I didn't think about it like that the last second. Okay, well, I say rose just because if he truly has chronic dislocation of his shoulders that I've never heard of before, it's sorry if it made me laugh a little bit, but then if he did have to go to the hospital to get it back in place, which also don't know if that would require hospital. If it's chronic, he may be used to putting it back in place himself. But like if he did have to go to the hospital, then he probably would have been disqualified from the entire thing because he would be breaking the Bachelor bubble. And when I mean Bachelor bubble, I mean Bachelor quarantine bubble.
Right.
Oh, I didn't think of that actually.
Yeah. That's a fair point. Okay, there we go. I see both sides of that one. Good argument, ladies. Next up, Chasen calling Tayshia a smoke show. 1, 2, 3.
Rose,
Yeah.
are you kidding?
Historical. That was the most like. I'm just gonna throw this one out here, but we all know the answer to this.
This is the most ridiculous debate that's ever happened in Bachelor history. I want to be a smoke show. I think every girl wants to be a smoke show. I think JoJo gets the term smoke show thrown at her more than any other Bachelorette in history. I'm pretty sure
you come up with that.
I was at dinner a couple of weeks ago and I was like, oh yeah, I saw JoJo. And then the guy goes, oh, what a smoke show. Like I literally swear.
Well, thanks. That's really random and funny. Thank you.
That's a compliment. I'll take it. Look.
I will take it. Yeah. Jordan and I were actually watching that last night. And we were both like, I was like, babe, I just want you to know you call me a smoke show anytime you want to. And he was like, yeah, I'm with you. So we both totally did not get that at all.
Right. Okay, next up, we have Bennett winning the grown ass man challenge, even though he couldn't spell the word limousine.
Well,
1, 2, 3.
Rose.
Yeah.
I made that decision, so I have to call it a rose. I'll let you guys know. Of course, that date took like 4 hours, 4+ hours to film. So there was a lot more questions asked than what you saw. And maybe Jared and I didn't keep track well enough, but if anything, Bennett was on average with the amount of math and spelling questions that he got right and wrong.
Okay, good to know. I like that.
Inside scoop there. I love it.
Okay, what about Tayshia kissing Brendan on the group date?
I'm rosing that.
Yeah, I rose that too.
Okay.
I can understand if I was in his position, I'd be like, oh no, I'm insecure now. But it was kind of sexy.
Kind of sexy. Gets a rose. JoJo,
I like it. I'm going rose. I liked it. Thought it was cute.
Okay. And lastly, Noah jumping the fence to fight for Tayshia and shaving his mustache. 1, 2, 3.
A whole bouquet of roses.
Rose.
All of the roses.
So many roses.
I loved it. I thought the guys were so ridiculous, giving him a hard time. I thought it was great.
When he ended up winning the group date rose, I mean, well deserved, right?
I mean, yes, I understand why she gave it to him. They had a strong connection. They had a great time when they were talking. And listen, the guys that are complaining about him hopping the fence and saying it's immature and that he's a boy, I actually completely disagree with that. I'm like, good for him. Like, you're showing up, you're doing your thing. So rose all day. I feel like I'm gonna like Noah. I haven't seen a ton of him, but I feel like I'm gonna like him a lot.
Me too. I loved his personality, and holy crap, how much cuter is he without that mustache? It's like Tayshia just got a new man in the bunch.
I loved the stash. I don't know. I loved the dirty stash.
Good.
I like him without it too, but I have a weird thing with dirty stashes. When Jordan grew his out for quarantine, I was like, oh, we should keep this. I'm into it.
We were talking about Noah. You guys think you're gonna like him, as the season progresses. Do you think there's gonna be more drama around Noah? Because that super tease, as super teases tend to do, made it seem like there's a lot of drama coming.
I have a theory. Okay. So because he got on this date by jumping the fence and then Tayshia inviting him on the date, does that make him disqualified from, and he got the rose. Okay. Well,
you guys say a one-on-one?
Does that make him disqualified for getting a one-on-one or a group date rose left, or a group date date card left in this week? I mean, I guess because he has a rose, he's disqualified. But talk about the drama that would ensue if his name is on a date card because he technically didn't have his name on a date card yet.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I actually see that happening. I actually see them sticking to whether he had the one-on-one or the group date. So that's really going to spice things up. It was so interesting to me because Spencer, night 1 or 2, I started to see the villain sort of role play out with him. And now I'm seeing it switch to Noah. I think that that's going to take the lead now. I didn't even see much of Spencer last time, so maybe that little villain thing's over. But
my other theory is that there's not gonna be a real villain because none of these guys are really villains, so they're just gonna name a troublemaker each week.
Yeah, I use that phrase very lightly. I don't even like the phrase villain, but you get what I'm saying. Whoever is involved in the drama, and I think it's gonna be Noah, and I think that they're gonna really hold on to this little boy immature thing because he's one of the younger guys, and it's silly. But we'll see what happens.
All right. We shall see. This wraps up this episode of Bachelor Tea Party. But before we go, JoJo, we want you to talk about a partnership that you have with eBay, right? What can you tell us about it?
Yes, very excited actually about this partnership. This is eBay's certified refurbished program. And I feel like with the holidays coming up, people will love this if they're not aware of it. So I'm very familiar with refurbished goods. My whole career is built around restoring homes and bringing them to new. So with this program, you guys are getting they're partnering with top name brands like Bissell, Ninja, DeWalt, KitchenAid, food, a ton of really great brands. And they're getting, it's up to 50% off of retail. They're all certified refurbished, which means the manufacturers are backing them. They're brought to new, and there's an unheard of 2-year warranty. So this is so new to me. People who've ever been scared about refurbished goods, you're saving the money, but you have that extra layer of trust where you have a 2-year warranty. So I think this is so great. Things like vacuums, for an example. Vacuums are ridiculously expensive, and I will never buy a brand new vacuum, I don't think, ever again. I just got one from Bissell through it, and it's amazing. So for holidays coming up, the eBay certified refurbished program is something people should definitely look into. These products are like new, come in their original packaging, and it saves you a ton of money. So I think it's something that we all can appreciate this holiday season. And I'm a big fan of it.
Definitely. All right. Well, we will
idea. I love
check that out. Yeah. Certified refurbished section on eBay. Got it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, y'all check out that section, and also make sure you check out the Bachelor Tea Party Facebook page. We'll see you next week for another episode. In the meantime, Ashley, JoJo, thank you both so much for being here. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
So good to see you guys. Bye.
Thank you.